And energy transformation does not only mean EV cars, right? That's the high part. Perhaps it's a high part of it in terms of the industrial competitiveness, and it's a highly competitive market that it's very difficult for any company to make sustainable margin in that part of the market. However, sustainability also means, first of all, in order to transit from fossil fuel to new energy, that we need to make sure before we get to point B that the conventional energy supply can sustain our industrial and civilization without too simplified to assume that sustainability means the world without fossil fuel. However, there are climate and clean technologies to make the production and exploration of conventional energy cleaner, more efficient, and reduce the carbon emissions. So those are the technologies that transform energy on the supply side, and while maintaining sustainable energy supply. Even when we reach net zero in a couple of decades, fossil fuel energy is still going to be a very big part of the energy supply. They're not going to disappear. So we need to, instead of just shun away from it, we need to look at the sustainability technologies and the processes and the new materials to help that part of the transition on the supply side. That's a huge $1 trillion opportunity. And on the demand side, we cannot just jump to alternative energy all of the sudden overnight. We need to build infrastructure. We need to build the demand processes and enablers, the hardwares and the softwares, before alternative energy can really take a bigger part of it. For example, the power transmission systems, the charging systems, right, and the terminals to receive natural gas in the case of Europe. So on the demand side, there are a lot of infrastructure that needs to be in place before people can actually move their energy consumption behavior from traditional energy to new energy. So that, again, on the demand side, is another huge $1 trillion opportunity that if we just take this buzzword and peel through the onions, and we'll see very exciting opportunities that merge the old and new together. And that is a sustainable and practical trend. Another buzzword I wanted to point out is, I don't know why, but the word uninvestable is very popular right now. You just ask the question to Europe, or 6 months ago, there was the buzzword for China. And whenever there is a macro risk, there's a geopolitical risk, there is a structural economic transition, people use the word uninvestable. I think that's overcooked. Right, and taking China as an example, yes, we do not overlook the significant geopolitical confrontations, the change in the world order, and the transition of the domestic development model, as we just discussed. However, just one, on the industrial side, I just give one example why that's perhaps a false hype, is that given where we are in the global monetary and interest rate cycle, at the end of a 40-year long the interest rate dropping cycle, and there is no other emerging markets that can, at such a capital cost in dollar term, to build domestic infrastructure at the scale and at the efficiency of what China did, financed by domestic credit. If you have to finance your massive infrastructure build out by dollar dead. That is going to be very problematic. Therefore, without that infrastructure, without that efficiency, you cannot build in a short period of time of the industrial manufacturing capabilities as what had been built in China over the last 20 years. This is just a fact. Therefore, I think the world needs to work together on the supply chain issues rather than to overly simplify it to the other extreme as if everybody is aware of the Chinese capacity and the China becomes uninvestable and everything moves to Southeast Asia. The real world doesn't work like that. I think the financial news wires has simplified the world too much. And we as long-term investors needs to look at what's a fact rather than what's fashionable.